Hi guys, how's it going? I mean, I've already been talking to you, so I kind of know how it's going, but I feel like that's what you need to say at the beginning. No, that won't be too complicated at all. I finished just saying that I was, well, you can read it in the chat on the video, I guess. Just finished coding Red Riding Hood on Tuesday. I'm just gonna make her randomly appear now. Actually, it's warmer than it was when I first started, so I'm gonna take my sweater off. Okay, this is King's Quest 1. Here's King's Quest 2. So, I get to the region scripts. Here we go, Red Riding Hood. Now, I think the way King's Quest 1 did it was, if the elf was going to appear, it gives a few seconds lead time before he appears. So that's why I was just referencing King's Quest 1 here. So, in it. All these unlabeled procedures. Okay, there's the random function call right there. If a bunch of variables and a bunch of procedures happen, then do this. Man, it's hard to read. Okay. I still don't know what illegal bits is. Slats, do you remember what illegal bits does on an object? Let's look that up in the docs. It's one of the properties. But I don't know what it does. It's not really documented in the documentation. It's only used in 5 objects: actor, ego, game ego, jump, and jump 2. I don't know what it's for. Never seen it before. Yeah, King's Quest 1 uses it extensively. Wish I knew what it meant. It's setting illegal bits to negative 32,750. Okay, sure. Must mean something. I'll do a deep dive into some SCI Studio documentation, see if that mentions it. But I probably don't need it. So this is the only place it uses random. So maybe the elf is just on the screen all the time then. Let's see what happens when he appears. Okay, so as soon as you enter, he's there. Oh, he stays stopped if you go near him. Maybe I should repeat that. I have it so that she stops if you get close, but if you walk away, she starts walking again. I could leave it too. See how annoying it is. Okay, Red Riding Hood. We want her to randomly appear. So. If we don't have the flower bouquet, if we haven't given flowers to wait, why is that there? If we haven't given, where is this set? Okay, so it says when we give the mermaid the flowers. I don't know that this needs to be here. Oh, yes, of course it does. So if we don't have the bouquet and we didn't give them to the mermaid, okay, yeah, because we don't want Red Riding Hood showing up again if we've already solved that whole puzzle chain. Like, we could give away the flowers and all of a sudden Red Riding Hood appears again, looking for her flowers. We don't want that. Okay. And if the room number is 16, set those positions here. Otherwise, use the default position. Because there's only 2 places she appears. But for the initialization, we want to make that random. So, random. And it chooses a number between 0 and 5. I think that's what this is doing here. This is between 0 and 1. Yeah. Okay. Let's do 0 and 1 then. We'll just do another one right here. If random 0, 1. That works. Let's test it. She's not here. She's not here. There she is. Good. So 0 and 1's a good choice. That's not too bad. I don't have any responses. You say a few words to it, but get no response. See, I have it so she just stops walking. But she could walk towards you and then stop. There. Okay. Let's make sure this works on every screen, or both screens. Actually put a horizon there. I'll have to do that. King's Quest 1 had a message as soon as you go on the screen. I'll probably do the same thing. Let's just go into AGI Studio. 153, 151. is this? It appears you've run into Little Red Riding Hood. She looks a little troubled. Copy that. Oh yes, strings are in braces. You shouldn't be able to, but that's a good check. We have to close the parentheses. Yeah, but right now I don't have any. Okay, so yeah, it checks if I'm within distance. Oh, but then it'll just say not close enough. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to check. How do I check if she's on the screen or not? I don't think there's built-in handling for checking whether something's initialized or not. Maybe I'll just make a local variable. What? This needs to be local. Why isn't that working? Oh, I gotta assign it. I thought you just... There. No, it's still not working. Oh, duh. If... There we go. Why isn't that lighting up? It's a local variable. It doesn't highlight. Alright. Compile. There we go, there's our message box. Well, let's get the appearing every time now. Okay. And it doesn't do any response. Okay. So if Red Riding Hood's on the screen, else print. I don't see any such person here. That's some kind of weird glitch I gotta figure out there. Alright. Give basket to girl. You don't see any such person here. There. Now, any such interaction will be enclosed in that conditional statement. Now she will never appear again. Good. I suppose we could do now some other random appearances, like maybe the witch. Gotta figure out which screens the witch shows up in. I know one of them is this screen, so we'll go to logic 9. And it loads logics 153, 101, 158, and 151. I think 153 has something to do with the forest, so let's try 101. No, that's a water region. Okay, 158. This is a lake region, it looks like. Look at all those checks. It's doing the same thing, but just in different coordinates. It's a lot of repetitive code. 151. That's the forest. So what's 153 then? What? Red Riding Hood appears on this screen too? Oh, I'm gonna have to test that. That's interesting. She'll appear here and here, apparently. I wonder if you have to have the basket of goodies to see her. That doesn't make sense, though. Wow, she's way more random in this. There's a random call there. Between 40 and 255, and then 0 and 2. Object 2. What's object 2? Set view object 2 to 2. Load view 2. Okay, what's object? What's view 2? View 2 is Red Riding Hood. Okay. Okay, so random 0 to 250, variable 94. If variable 94 is less than 80. Oh. So it's generating a random number between 0 and 250. And if that number is less than 80, then she appears on screen? Oh, and is set flag 129. Flag 129 is probably whether you've already gotten the flowers. More random calls here. So this is just for handling Red Riding Hood though. I didn't think she appeared on that screen. That's interesting. There's no other logics loaded, but I was sure the witch appeared on this screen. I remember as a kid hiding out on the little island here so that the witch couldn't get me. I specifically wanted to test that. Well, maybe there's a chance to randomly appear instead of just appearing as soon as you're there. But I distinctly remember standing here and being like, I wonder if the witch can get me now, and she couldn't, because she couldn't get off the land. So she can randomly appear. Now, King's Quest 1, they made the elf just appear as soon as you enter the screen. Maybe I'll keep this behavior for the screen west of Grandma's house, but for every other screen she's supposed to appear on, I'll make her randomly appear after a certain amount of time instead. But I was sure the witch appeared on the screen. That's interesting. I wonder how many scripts she appears in. I can't find in files. That's a shame. So 9, 16. I wonder if she appears on 23. No, she's 153, so she doesn't appear here. I'll leave that up for a second. So what is that? Anyway. So 9. to trap her at the bottom of the screen. She is not to go into the water, so we'll go... let's say 14,145. 14,145 to 184, 315. And her position will be there, 207, 165. Now the only problem here is that I could go one screen to the next and she'd appear immediately in each one, so maybe I should increase this random chance. Just so it would make more sense. Because there's more screens chained together. If you don't see her on one, just go to the next one, she might appear. There she is. Definitely want to keep her at the bottom of the screen too, because I don't want her to be in the water to see her reflection. Back and forth here. Oh, I didn't add her region to this screen. Set regions, writing, script. Right, try that again. And there she is. Okay, my random generator is not going to change because it's just checking whether it's 0 or not. So it doesn't matter if it's doing a higher number. So what I need to do is if random is equal to 1. That'll do a 1 in 3 chance instead of a 1 in 2 chance. Boolean, or conditional as opposed to Boolean. Because it was basically checking if it's true or false, and in programming, anything above 0 is true, so... there she is. Still a pretty good chance, isn't it? Not too bad. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. She doesn't appear right away, but that's okay. You're supposed to be able to wander around a bit. And here her reflection will never be in the water, so that's good. I was sure the witch appeared on the screen, though. Gotta find the witch's script. 23. Does anyone remember which screen the witch appears on? I'll just wait here. So I wonder... let's just go to the 150s, perhaps. 151 is forest region. 52. Digging. I didn't even know you could dig. It doesn't do anything in the game. Dig, dig, dig. Okay, you're all through digging, you find nothing. Is this a beach region? Or some beach... yeah, this is a beach region. Oh, that's what these conditions are for. It's if you're on a certain screen. It's got to change the coordinates on where you can try drinking the water based on the different screens because they're on different locations. That seems kind of sloppy and redundant. A cumbersome way to do it anyway, but I guess it works, so. Alright, that's the beach. 153 is Red Riding Hood. What's 154? A ferry. So that controls when the ferry shows up. 155. That's the chasm region. 156. Is that a room? That's not a room, is it? No, rooms don't go that high. Something to do with the castle anyway, and the swamp. Heavily wooded area. Whoops. Lake again. And all the different screens where there's a lake. Poisonous brambles. Evil Enchanter. Okay. 160 is the Evil Enchanter. 161 is Hagatha. Okay. So those are like the danger regions. And then there's the Dwarf. 160, 161, 162. I can program them in. So this is some other kind of region. When you're next to the mountain base, it looks like. So this is when you're on top of the cliff. 165. Carpet region. Dracula's region. This is the tower realm with the fish in the water. Okay. Anyway, let's start with Hagatha. So she's 162. Nope, that's the Dwarf. 161. We need to find a script with 161. I'm sure she appears here. But I guess I was wrong. Why do I remember that? Maybe they had a different version and they patched it out? Maybe I just dreamed it. Alright. Nope. I wish I could find in files. Maybe WinAGI can do that. Yeah, this is King's Quest 2. Okay. Logics. Is there no find? Whoops, I tried compiling. That's not what I wanted to. Alright, let's just load a logic. Edit. Nope, This won't do it either. That's kind of annoying. Alright, I'm just gonna have to test it, or go through each one. I feel like she'd be in something like this screen. 23. But she's not. Looking for 161. Bit of tedious part of this process. Reverse engineering. 27 maybe? 160, that's where the Enchanter shows up. I should be taking notes. So, Enchanter. 7. Okay. Let's just go through them one by one then. Well, that's the main script, we don't want that. How are you enjoying working on this King's Quest II Remake and SCI? Thoughts, feelings on how it's going so far and what's coming? Well, I'm doing it for the fun of it. I'm enjoying it in that respect, seeing as it's still kind of like just a spare time thing, even though I've kind of scheduled and devoted time to it now with the streaming. That same pressure is not there as it could be, you know what I mean? But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying figuring things out. Some things are a little tedious, like now, trying to figure out where exactly people show up. Thank you for following Tiny Stuffs. Stuffs? Yeah, that's huge. Doing it without pressure. I think it's coming along great right now, though, anyway. And I've made quite a bit of progress since I first started it on that one beach screen at the very beginning of the game. That's the first thing I did. I still remember when I sat down and attempted it. And what's coming? Well, hopefully to get through this sooner or later. It's the biggest thing that Party of 8. Well, thank you for raiding. That's the first raid. Welcome, everybody. How you guys doing? Hello, 8 of Y. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'm doing some programming scripting here for King's Quest II, for a King's Quest II SCI remake. So just to show you what I got done so far. The game is completable from beginning to end, right to the wedding, if you've played King's Quest II before. I just finished programming in Red Riding Hood here, wandering around randomly, and randomly appearing in different screens. I just gotta figure out what all screens she appears in. I think I've got them all, though. There's some random occurrences I want to implement now, so like running into the danger people, the Dwarf who can steal your stuff, the Enchanter who can kill you, and Hagatha, the witch who can kill you. And then there's a fairy too who can give you a protective spell so they can't hurt you. I'm redrawing most of the screens no, I'm redrawing all the screens from scratch. Some of them are not done yet, like, oh, these are done. It's nice when you get to the point where you're trying to find work to do. Okay, so this screen I haven't done yet. It's using the original AGI screen, just as a placeholder. Is the music loud? Sorry, guys. There. Is that better? Never played King's Quest 2. Well, when this is done, you can. Put that down to 5%. Oh, I didn't do the... I must not have written in the code yet for that horizon. He's not supposed to be walking up there like that. He's supposed to change rooms immediately. So I'm doing this with a program called SCI Companion, which creates games in Sierra's SCI interpreter. Adventure style EGA, bit of point and click. You can use the mouse. I haven't implemented it yet, but you can right click to look at objects, or you type. That is not how you spell work. So it's primarily a parser game, but this is when they were just starting to implement mouse support. Pretty substantial level of challenge, yes. I'm hoping to smooth out the rough edges of this version, though, to make things either make a little more sense or maybe signpost things a little easier than in the original. Sierra made a remake of King's Quest 1 in this same style, and I'm just trying to copy their approach with that. So for instance, here's Grandma's Cottage. In my remake, I redid this whole screen, and this is the original game. This is what it looked like. There was no mouse support at all. It was just typing. So here's Grandma's Cottage here. You can see kind of the graphical fidelity update I'm trying to go for. The remake's pretty good. You can actually... if you like remakes, there's an indie developer group called Himalaya Studios who makes modern adventure games. But before they did commercial games on their own, they did remakes, and they called themselves AGDI, which is short for Anonymous Game Developers Interactive. And they remade King's Quest 1, 2, and 3 with in VGA colors and entirely point and click, no typing, with digital music and voice cast and everything. And actually, especially in King's Quest 2's case, they really fleshed out the whole story and almost redesigned it from scratch. Yes, SCI Companion was created by Phil Fortier. He of Icefall Games, and he's working on Cascadia. Is it Cascadia or Cascadia Quest? Which is upcoming game by him. He also did some shorter games called Snail Quest, which you can get on Steam for like $1. Cascadia Quest, yeah. So yeah, check out agdinteractive.com, and you can get their remakes for free. And it's authorized. It's not. They're officially licensed. They got permission from the rights holders to release them. So you can get the remakes of King's Quest 1, 2, and 3, and Quest for Glory 2, if you've heard of the Quest for Glory series, which is more of a RPG/adventure hybrid game. And you can try it out. Their version of King's Quest 2, though, is very different from the original. So the basic template is the same, but they really changed a whole lot of detail and rewrote like everything. But their King's Quest 1 remake is more of a straight copy, just with upgraded visuals and sound. And King's Quest 3, I actually wrote the music for their remake of King's Quest 3, and it's kind of an in-between what King's Quest 2 was and King's Quest 1, so it's more straightforward and copy from the original, because the original King's Quest 3 did have pretty decent story. They just fleshed out a few puzzles and a few characters, but the basic framework is the same. It's not as crazy changed as King's Quest 2 was. And Quest for Glory 2 is not fleshed out at all. It's another one-to-one remake, but that was already a really substantial game in the first place, so. You can also get all the original games on Steam and GOG if you so wish. I think they're like, you get the whole collection on Steam for $20, and on GOG they're split up into, like I think you can get 1 to 3 for $10, and then 4 to 6 for $10. Thank you for following, Costas Theropods. I would rather see a Quest for Glory 3-4 demake, to be honest. EGA forever. I thought AGDI did a really weird thing with King's Quest 2, especially going so far as to actually make Graham go insane because of a certain companion of his. Yes. But that was deserved and a long time coming, you gotta admit. Summer's referencing a specific Easter egg in a certain portion of King's Quest 2 Plus, which is the remake, the fan remake, that references a certain companion character from King's Quest 5 that you may or may know and love. May or may not know and love. I use the term love loosely. I really enjoyed AGDI's King's Quest 2. After years of... It came out in about 2002, 3-ish? In an age where adventures were mostly dead for, you know, like the 4, 5, 6 years before that. It was the first time since the original Sierra and LucasArts games, King's Quest, Space Quest, Police Quest, Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, Indiana Jones and all those, where I actually felt like I was on an adventure again. Especially after accomplishing the first task. In this game, the goal is to rescue a girl trapped in a tower. You don't know where she is, but you're trying to find her. In this game, you come across a magic door, and you need 3 keys to open it. And when you find those keys, you just go and unlock the door, and then you go find the next key. And in the original game like this, you find 1 key just lying in a cave on a mountaintop. Getting to the mountaintop is the puzzle. There's another one underwater. Oh, look, Red Riding Hood again. It makes sense that she appears here, though, right next to Grandma's cottage. I'll have to implement her here, too. But in the remake, it kind of stretches the whole adventure out of acquiring those keys. I actually changed them to stones in the remake. And you have to do this whole kind of quest on its own just to get the one item instead of just finding it in the original. So they really stretched it out and fleshed it out. I gotta get rid of those MIDI files. I get MIDI files in my playlist and they don't play very nicely. Okay. So I highly recommend it. Also, there's a group called Infamous Quest who made a game called Quest for Infamy, which is kind of an anti-hero take. That's loud. An anti-hero take on Quest for Glory, where you're trying to be a hero. Quest for Infamy, you're trying to be a villain, sort of anti-hero. Anyway, before they did a commercial game, they also remade King's Quest 3, which is also free. And they also remade Space Quest 2, which I worked on as well. In the music capacity. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, Hagatha appears next to her cave. That also makes sense. And the dwarf will probably appear here, too. Okay. Highly recommend any Sierra game. They're all good. Even if some are more or less good than others. Unlocking scenes progressively closer to the tower would be neat. What do you mean? Not sure what you mean by that. Like showing a little cutscene sequence each time you get a key or something? Also shout out Order of the Thorn, which I really like too. Yes, Order of the Thorn was also made by Infamous Quests. I haven't finished either of their games yet, but I intend to. Order of the Thorn is a lot more fantasy and closer to the King's Quest feel than Quest for Infamy is, which would be closer to Quest for Glory style. But it's a beautifully designed game, and I highly recommend them. Highly, if you're interested in adventure games at all. Okay, so I need her to appear on room... this one. This room right here. Room 4. Where's the regions? Okay. Select regions. 706, no. Just use them by their names. Oh, I'm running the game, right. I can't compile while the game is running. All the music you hear in the background right now is from various Sierra games. Now, I haven't set custom coordinates for this screen, but I don't think I have to. I think I can use the default. Yeah, there she is. She really gets obstructed by those big trees, though. I'm going to have a different... This is, again, a placeholder image from the AGI game, which is a lot lower resolution. I'm going to redraw her, or get someone to help me redraw her in higher resolution like Graham here. So that's good. Yes, I was just looking through. So I have two programs open here. SCI Companion, which will open and edit Sierra's SCI games, and the AGI Studio, which opens Sierra's AGI games. The AGI games, again, very low resolution, double wide pixels, and no mouse support, text only. SCI, at the beginning, supported higher resolution. Slightly higher, 320 by 200, as opposed to 160 by 200. And it also supports limited mouse support, and the parser. And then eventually their SCI engine was enhanced to support VGA colors, an entirely point-and-click interface without typing. But I'm creating King's Quest II in SCI 0, it's called. Parser, limited mouse, and 16-color EGA. Okay, so she is not in this screen either. Logic 3. No. I can tell which ones certain characters are in because they're loading different scripts, and each of these scripts are dedicated to a different character, for lack of a better explanation. Not there. 5. Nope. $154, 63. So in this room, logic 7, which is this cliffside. Oh, with that tree I redrew a couple weeks ago. $163. 163 is... Oh, I think 163 is the cliffside, right? Yeah. Okay. Never mind. So that was 7. What's 8? Nothing there. Nope. The 160 logics have the dangerous characters. Nope. Basically what's happening is to keep the file size down for each script here, each logic, it's loading separate logics for different regions or locales. So if there's one screen is more of a forest, it'll load this logic which has a bunch of text responses that you can type in for trees instead of typing it out for every single... Oh my goodness, these MIDIs. I have to curate my playlist here a little better. Okay. Cliffs again. Ooh, I can't edit logic 15. What room is that? The mermaid screen. That's interesting. Maybe because I'm running the game. Let's just close this. Huh. Try it again. Okay, something's wrong with that. Maybe when AGI can open it. Nothing here. Nothing here. Again, slightly tedious. 156 and 159. Oh, that's the castle screen. Okay. Okay, 160. This is a screen where what's 160 again? The Enchanter. Just gotta write these down. So the Enchanter appears on 19. Making notes of this so that I can copy it. $160 again, so that is room 20. Enchanter sticks close to the mountain base, it seems like. 21 is another one. Not here. Okay, next. $60. Okay, here we go. 26. $27. 28. Oh, he appears on quite a few screens there. Not there. Oh, finally, a Hagatha screen. 161, room 30. $30 is, yeah, okay. 31. 31 as well. Less glamorous part of game design, at least game remake design. But that's what is involved. Okay, 37. 38. 162. I think that's the dwarf. 39. Double check. Dwarf, yep. And then 163 is the fairy? Nope. I'll have to mark that down too, but I won't bother right now. 39. 40. 40. 41. No, there's 163. Alright, what is 163? It's a mountain range, okay. $44. 45. Yeah, I just want to double check that. Okay. 45, 46. Dwarf again on 46. And 47. It's usually more exciting than this. When I'm actually creating something, but which I'll get to shortly as soon as I get all these rooms down. Bit of a tedious process at first. Okay, now I'm into different kinds of scripts here. They're not, I don't think these are rooms. Oh, here we go. Okay, 164, 165, 55. Cliffs. Magic carpet, okay. 56. 57. I think these are 57. What are these screens? Yeah, the mountaintops. Okay. So that's probably all of Kalima then. Okay, we've got a baseline. Enchanter appears in a lot of screens. Enchanter appears in 7 screens, while Hagatha and the Dwarf only appear in 5. Okay, now that I have the rooms, I think I must have all of... Oh, I didn't bother to check Red Riding Hood. 2, 4... 9... 16. So does Red Riding Hood only appear in those 4 screens? Let's double check quickly. Okay, she obviously doesn't appear there. Her script number is 153, I think. Just double check that. Yep, so I'll write that down so I won't forget it. So she'll appear here. She won't appear here. Oh, she does. I don't think there's any room for her to appear here, though, in the remake. I don't think there's any room for her to move around here. Well, like, would that get annoying if she's in the way constantly? No, but she'd stop moving when you get close, so I might be able to do it. Okay, let's put her there. Room 3. Okay, yeah. I gotta rename these forests. Locale script. Set regions. Writing HUD script. I think that's okay. Okay, there she is. Kind of wanders around right in front of the door. That's a little awkward. Oh, she's going beyond the door. Okay, I can't have that. Maybe I just won't let her appear on the screen at all. But if I do, I can account for that. I'm going to change this to a switch. Cases work again. Okay. Since I'm having so many if statements, I might as well use a switch instead, which cases each number instead of... Okay, so if the case is room number 9, we want this code. If the case is 16, we want this code. Did I screw that up? Case. Ended. Okay. Doesn't like that. I don't need to put case at all. It's still not working. Oh, solitary values don't need parentheses. Okay, there we go. So if it's room 9, it'll do this. If it's room 16, it'll do this. And now I need to make one for room 3. Hood cage can be default, I think, but riding... No, the cage does need to be different. That's the problem. Top, left, bottom, right. I'm interested but quiet because I am also working. Don't tell my boss. Work is crazy busy today. I will not betray your secret, my friend. I'm just happy you're spending your busy workday with me. So, for this screen, we want her to not go any higher than, let's say, this. 103, 45, 3, 45, and then bottom and right. Will not go any lower than 157, 311. What's wrong with that? Oh, I gotta close it. Now she won't go through that door, I don't think. There we go. And she's exploring a little more. Okay, good. And she also appears on room 4. But we've already added her to that right there. Okay, what other rooms is she in? 153, so that's room 3. She's definitely in 4 as well. .54. I think that's the swamp. Yeah, it must be the swamp. 8. Nope. 9. Still no 153. It's 158. I gotta figure out where which one the ferry is. That's lake. Flowers. Chasm. Brambles. 2, 3, 4. Trees by the mountain. Cliffs. The carpet. Let's write that down. 65. I gotta know which screens you can ride the carpet on, because it's not every carpet. It's not every screen you can. Dracula is 166. Make sure I did that down. The fish. $70. Too turbulent to swim. Whoops. Welcome to King's Quest 2. That must be the title screen. I didn't run across the ferry. Digging. Digging doesn't do anything in this game. I wonder if that was something that was planned and they just forgot about. There's no point in digging at all. Okay, ferry is 154. Now I know what to look for. Okay. Back here. Well, that's a screen for the ferry. 6. Okay, and 5. Nothing else. Okay. 7. 7. 154 is the fairy, so she appears on screen 12. $13. And $14. And then this screen messes up. Okay. 16. Yeah, I've got 16 for Red Riding Hood right there. Let me arrange my notes here. Okay, just a little reshuffling so I can read it better. You can't see it, but it's just my notes I'm taking in Notepad++. All right, where were we? 16, 17. Same one. 156, 159, nope, nothing. 160, Enchanter. Room 19, I already got that. Yep. And it should be 27 and 28 as well. Yep. Yep. $161. Hagatha 30. Yep. 161. Okay, 30, 31. Okay, I'm at 36. I just want to see how many of these are actually Kalima pictures. Okay, 49 is the last one. This one should be Hagatha. Yep. 738. 39. 162 is the Dwarf. Yep, that's good. 40. And 41 should also be the Dwarf. 42. 161, it's Hagatha again. 45. I have that, okay. If anyone's just joining, I'm just trying to make sure I have all the random room numbers where the different characters appear on screen, so I can get all the same ones for the remake. The Dwarf appears on 46, yep. 47. 48. Nothing. 49. Nothing. Okay. Good. Now we can start. So I definitely have all of Red Riding Hood's screens now. She's in screen 2, 3, 4, 9, and 16. And that's it. The fairies in rooms 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14. The Enchanter is in 19, 20, 21, 26, 27, 28. Hagatha is in 30, 31, 37, 38, 45. And the Dwarf is in 39, 40, 41, 46, and 47. Good. So we're done with Red Riding Hood. Except for her sprite, which will have to get changed at some point. To be honest, I'm glad they got rid of most of those random encounters in King's Quest 3 and later. Well, King's Quest 3 still had them. There was the bandits, there was Medusa, and the abominable snowman. But yeah, it was more in context. It made more sense. Medusa was only in the desert. The abominable snowman was only in the snowy mountains, and the bandits were close to the main road and around where their hideout was. And it was only like 3 screens. And, well, a couple of them involve actual puzzle solving and grant you points for it. Like, you get points for putting the Yeti to sleep in his cave. You get points, obviously, for killing Medusa with the mirror in the desert. Although you don't really get anything from her for doing that, it's just points. Unlike the remake, which is for a purpose. And the bandits... Well, their appearance by their hideout kind of tells you where their hideout is. Other than that. And King's Quest 4, they even had them. So you had your the ogre in King's Quest 4, right? Context is, yeah, it's totally different. And like King's Quest 1 and 2, where it was just random danger encounters. We got to have something exciting in the game somewhere, so we'll have these random people that can kill you unless you run away fast enough. Or in the dwarf's case, he'll steal your stuff. The thing that's different with King's Quest 2 is if the dwarf steals your stuff, you can get it back by going to his lair and getting into his trunk. You couldn't do that in King's Quest 1. In King's Quest 2 Plus, the remake by AGDI, the Enchanter's lair you can go to, and there's a whole puzzle solving system there, but again, his appearances don't really matter so much as anything more than just a danger. So we're done with Red Riding Hood, so let's close all this. We gotta now implement... So we do Hagatha first or the Enchanter? Let's do the Enchanter. No, let's do Hagatha. So we go to AGI Studio. Hagatha's script is 161, I believe. Yeah. View 25, 115, 26. Which one of those are Hagatha? Oh, that's the one where she grabs you. 26. Okay, there she is. She's only got 2 views. What was 151? 115, sorry. Poof. Oh, she grabs you and teleports you to her lair. That's going to be interesting. It's a little more involved than just appearing on a screen. I can implement that, the rest of that later, though. So, 25, 26. Okay, we'll take 26 first. What views we got here? And 12. Alright, we'll start with 88. Kind of running out of sprites though. Well, there's hundreds, but... Okay. New sprite, new view. We'll just do 90. 90. Hagatha. Good, it's even the same, same transparent background. Again, just using these as placeholders. I'm going to redo the graphics last. I just want the programming in first. I thought the randoms were fine. They were good for the time, but it is nice, and I like them too. It is nice that King's Quest 3, and especially King's Quest 4, put them into context a little better. So at least they made more sense than just random fantasy bad guys. And to be honest, each game progressively did that. King's Quest 1 was random. There's a random witch, a random enchanter, a random dwarf. And then one couple screens there's a random wolf too. And an ogre. Man, there was a lot in King's Quest 1. And then King's Quest 2, they used a witch, an enchanter, and a dwarf, but they kind of gave them a purpose and a story. Like, the witch is actually a character in the story. She's the one that imprisoned Valenice, I think. Like in the original story. So her presence makes sense if you've read the story in the manual. It doesn't mention that anywhere in the game, actually, but... And then the dwarf, he doesn't have a story, I guess, but he has a lair, so he kind of has a reason for being there. The witch's cave is also there. The only thing that doesn't have a lair is the enchanter. That was fixed in the remake, where they made the cave at the top of the mountain his lair. And that was a clue to finding the second stone, instead of the key just lying there on the rock. I suppose the shark in King's Quest 4 also counts. Oh, good point, yes. I forgot about that. Alright, I'm just gonna leave her the way she is, but... just shrink her. Oh, never mind. Oh no, we can... How does that look? He's really hobbling there. Kind of like her hobbling, but maybe I should do this. Whatever, it's a placeholder, it doesn't matter. Okay, there's she is. Let's give her a region script. Scripts. Red Riding Hood. So let's try to follow the naming convention of the original here in the same order. So Red Riding Hood will be 706. That means the fairy should be 707, right next. Enchanter, 708. Hagatha, 709. So we're going to do 709 for her. region script 709. It's going to be empty. We'll copy the contents from here for now. Oh, and in game sh we have to define new entry script name. Region script 709. Save. Gotta rename everything. Just copy that. Okay, we don't need any of this. That handle event, don't need any of that either. Oh, whoops. Okay, there. Now, instance Hagatha of act. Don't need a cage. We need to set her walk speed way up though. I'll do that later. Okay. So she is view, what did we say, 90? So one screen she appears on is 30. So let's bring up 30. Right here. Oh, I missed a lot here. I like the idea that you could get robbed but retrieve it from the lair. Yeah, that was definitely an improvement. That King's Quest 2 innovated. Shark was super dumb too. Though, I think they made fun of that shark scene in Larry 3. Did they? I haven't played Larry 3. I haven't really played any of the Larrys. They could have used the shark as a limit to how far you could swim. Instead, they made Rosella get tired and drown. That's true. Because once you go so far, once you start coming back, you wouldn't be able to make it. The whale tongue climbing scene, oh, that was a nightmare. My problem with random encounters is more my problem with the save load system in general. Really? I suppose you're more a proponent then of LucasArts game design philosophy, where you don't necessarily die, ever. Me, I appreciate the possibility of failure, and it makes the stakes higher and it makes it more exciting. The LucasArts story games were richer though, and that made up for it, really. Mage's Initiation implemented an autosave at the start of any combat encounter, which was nice, yes. And they also now have, there was a patch a couple months later after it was released where you can actually get rid of all random encounters altogether. So, I mean, you still have the boss battles you have to do at the end of each quest line, but the random encounters are totally removed entirely at the lowest difficulty. Basically, affordances aren't great game design for the most part, and it prevents real consequences. You don't? See, Sierra game designs were I can't talk. Sierra games were designed kind of in a sort of breaking the fourth wall sort of manner. So, which can break immersion. I understand that, but like for instance, some puzzles were designed where you'd have to see a death in order to solve a puzzle. Like, I think it was King's Quest V that did it. Was it King's Quest V or something else? Like, you need to die so you can see what happens, so you can learn to avoid it. And there's no way the character in universe can know that. That totally shatters suspension of disbelief for some people. I'm okay with it, I guess, because I grew up with it, and I always preferred CR to LucasArts. But I see the argument, and it's a fair argument for sure. I like failing much. I like to win. I like to win too, and I like to fail as well, so that when I do win, it feels even better. That's not for everybody, though. I think if you're fine with having Sierra deaths, and I'm kind of fine with having... Is that fine you're trying to say, or fond? Kind of fine with having required deaths. Yeah, that's... Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to be. And there's the age-old Sierra adage, save early, save often. Like, it was part of their design philosophy. So you either like it or you don't. Which is totally fine. For the most part, I'm going to stick to that with this game, but I'll make things a little lighter, a little easier. It's not going to be as unforgiving. I'm probably not going to implement any dead ends. Let's put it that way. Probably. Or I'll have an option. I like dead ends too. I'm crazy. King's Quest V is my favorite King's Quest. So, what that tells you. So we're implementing... Okay, so Hagatha is going to appear here. We just... Oh, I need to name all these locales. Okay. Set regions... Hagatha, region script. Okay, she'll appear here. Dun, dun. So Hagatha, your cycle speed will be fine. We need you to appear... I suppose we can just put... Okay, what are all the screens she appears on? 30? 31? 37? 36? 30... Oh, this is the screen where she appears with a lake. This must be it, but there's no island. Oh! It wasn't the island. I tried swimming to get away from her, and she indeed couldn't get to you if you're swimming. That'll be easy enough to implement too, because I already have for several of these screens control colors controlling when Graham walks into the water and starts swimming. So when he hits these colors on the screen, it'll change his view to a swimming or walking in water sprite. So I'll just say if Hagatha hits this color, she can't go past it. Like, so it's a flag. So observe control color navy blue will be her flag, and she won't be able to get past the blue lines. So that's easy enough. It's already pretty well built in. 37, 38. Where's 38? Here, and 45 right here. So those 5 screens. For most of them, I think her appearing in the central area of the screen will be fine. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so for at least these 2 rooms, I'll have to have different spawn points. But for these... The lower center of the screen is probably fine. No, she needs to come from a side. You need to give yourself a fighting chance to survive, so. I think failure is okay if it's avoidable. I don't like when bad ends, deaths, soft locks are unavoidable or very poorly signposted. And I think there's a couple instances where that's a fair criticism in King's Quest V. But for the famous, like, cheese in the wand machine puzzle, like, I think that's fair. I justify it because you get thrown into that prison. The very first thing you see is a rat running across the screen and going inside his mouse hole. So that should immediately direct your attention to that hole. There's got to be something I can do there. So immediately you'd walk over and look in and see something there. Now, if you couldn't get it because you didn't pick up the fish hook, that goes back to, I think you find the fish hook on the Harpy Island, and I think it's glinting in the ground. So if you didn't notice the glint to pick it up, I still think it was signposted enough. So you should have that fish hook, and if you have the fish hook, you can get the cheese if you look in the mouse hole. I think that's fair. Using the cheese to power the wand machine is an obtuse puzzle. It doesn't make any sense, but you should have it, and if you're trying everything in your inventory, which is a not good design, you could still, it's not soft locked. Same thing with getting into the treasure room with the open sesame staff puzzle. You have limited time to get in and out before it closes forever and you can't get back in. Right next to the door there's a lamp, you can pick that up, and then right next to that there's a little shining coin. I know the whole screen is shining, but this one's next to the door, so it makes sense that maybe I can pick that up and get out in time. That's on the very fringes of fair, in my opinion. Dead End Designs is one of those affordances. Like, Big Chasm, sure I will be careful, but Space Quest will kill you for no reason out of nowhere, and while I get that's funny, I don't find it that fun. Space Quest gets a free pass for any kind of deaths it wants to do, in my opinion. That's half the fun, is finding the deaths in the game. And once you know them, you know how to avoid them, usually. But I'm totally biased. Space Quest is my favorite series. But I understand your position. I actually think the Chasm is less interesting. I think unavoidable failure can be fine in certain random parts of games. The Chasm in King's Quest II with the bridge, you mean? Yeah, there's definitely a fair conversation to have, and there can be some right and wrong to it, I suppose, but for the most part it's up to what you prefer. And if you want to make your game as wide-reaching as possible, you'd probably want to tone down those stricter classic game design rules, adventure game design rules. But for instance, I like hard games. Like Doom Eternal is punishingly hard, but it's more in a fair way. It's one of my favorite games of the past 10 years. Because it's so difficult, but also because it tells you exactly what you need to do, so you understand that if you fail, it's your fault. You know, that's the difference between being, oh, how was I supposed to know that, and, oh, I should have done this, and it's totally my fault. So that kind of idea. So on most screens, we're going to have Hagatha appear in I guess we need one different for every screen. Maybe I'll have it check to see if Graham is on one half of the screen or the other half of the screen, Hagatha will appear on one side or the other and come after you. But we don't need a cage for her, she can go anywhere. Okay, Hagatha. 0, let's just set this to 0 for now. In it. And I don't want to appear right away, it needs to be after a couple seconds too. So this is slightly different than the elf. So for instance, the witch appears on this screen, but she flies. I don't want her to fly. There's an ogre screen. This one. I think this is an ogre screen. .602 is the region. called a menace region. That's funny. Recently encountered a death I'd never seen before in Space Quest 2, getting stuck on the big tree just north of the crash site. Yeah, and the bees come get you? That's a nice one. It was recreated very faithfully and in detail in the Infamous Adventures remake. Probably parents play King's Quest V. I'm an 89 kid. Before I was old enough to have the motor skills to play it, so I'll never really get to experience it the way others have. Yeah, I was born in 84, so I grew up on the AGI games. Space Quest 2, King's Quest 1, Police Quest 1. And I never got very far, but I got used to that because that's all there was. That is in a frustrated manner. Yeah, I get it. Text parsers were such a cool way to learn to type spell. I learned to type, to spell, and read playing Space Quest 2. In fact, I used to wake my parents up really early every Saturday morning when I was playing Space Quest, asking them how to spell suit in Space Quest 2 so I could get out of my suit to... And then finally they wrote down some words for me on a paper so I wouldn't forget. It's definitely helped me do that. Earliest memory of a game with parser is actually Starship Titanic. Is that a text adventure? I think it is, right? Space Quest 1 was the first ever adventure game I played. In 1988, when we got our first PC, I was 10 years old. Nice. One of the few adventure games I was exposed to when I was younger. Ooh, Starship Titanic. That is cool. I never played it. Text adventures were too early for me. I didn't make it for them. Never really played them outside of, No, I don't think I played any text adventures. When I was a kid, that is. I've tried them since. I think I remember being deeply frustrated spelling chandelier in Colonel's Bequest. But you'll never forget it now, will you? Starship Titanic is a game with 3D Studio rendered graphics. It just had a text parser in addition to the GUI. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I only played the Homestar Runner text adventures. I haven't played any Homestar Runner text adventures. I played Peasant's Quest. That's more of an AGI game, though. AGI style. And, of course, Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People, which I have a physical copy of before Telltale stopped selling their physical versions of games. So in King's Quest 1, we have a menace variable. We have wait a few. So it waits 2 seconds before the menace appears. Let's see how that works. Wait a few. Yeah, it waits 3 seconds. Script ID Global 138.0 on self. Start script queue. Man, it's using a bunch of globals to run this. Starship Titanic also has a FMV Douglas Adams and the voice of John Cleese. I didn't know that. There's another Titanic game that's a text adventure, though, isn't there? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Or I'm confusing something else entirely. Late 90s. Yeah, that sounds about right for FMV. Alright, let's get this done. Gotta figure out how this is working. Or I could just do it my own way. Wait 1. Wait a few. Interesting way it does it. Oh, I see. So it's using one script to handle every random encounter, but depending on... It loads a different view and a different sound and a different script, depending on what it is. So it randomizes between 0 and 3. So that must be the Witch, the Ogre, the Dwarf, and the Enchanter. Those are the 4 dangers in King's Quest 1, right? Is there another one? It randomizes which one it's going to be. But that doesn't make sense because... Is it really random? It's a very clever way of doing it, though. Okay. Let's just turn off the sound. Find a dark forest screen. Actually, I guess I should have gone straight west. That would take me straight to a dangerous screen. Keep shouting out K-Station, but it's a parser game that released in 2016-ish that is now available for free. I think very few people have played it and it deserves more attention. I haven't heard of it either. Or are you talking about Starship Titanic? I definitely heard that name, but... Where's the Dark Forest? Here it is. Okay. So when you enter these rooms, it's a random chance it appears. I always just avoid these screens when I play, so that's probably why I don't remember running into it. I like to program this in a way so that it kind of appears on the opposite end of the screen from where you are, so you have a chance to get out. You don't want it appearing right next to you. Okay, there's an ogre. Oh, it is random. Look at that. So King's Quest 1 just has random... Just has one random menace script, and any of those 4 menaces can appear on the same screens. Small dwarf. Look at that. Is the witch gonna appear? Sorcerer. I think the witch does appear on one screen. Yeah, so it's only a random chance of 3. 0 means nothing will appear. 1, 2, and 3 would be ogre, sorcerer, and dwarf. But the witch definitely appears... Where is it? I don't know Daventry by heart yet. You think I would? Yeah, here's the witch's house. Nope, it's the goat. Where's the witch's house? It's straight up. Right, no, not here. Here. This is always a witch. And she got me. Oh, she didn't catch me. How did I miss? You know what? I wonder if the duck command... Remember how this game has commands for jumping and ducking? The jump is to catch the eagle. Maybe if you duck, the witch doesn't catch you? Is that a thing? Because I've never tried that. Always wonder what it was for. Okay, up here so I can test this. Nice. Oh, it works. I never knew that before. This game is beautiful. King's Quest 1, and I'm trying to make King's Quest 2 look like this, and I'm not the artist that whoever this was that made the art for this game is, obviously. But this is one of the most beautiful EGA games I've ever played. Absolutely storybook beautiful. Okay. So now I know how they do it. I won't do exactly the same with the random encounters, but I can at least reproduce whether it appears or not, and if it waits a few seconds. Wondering if Quest for Glory 1 came out of some frustration at KQ1 enemies. No, I will kill them. That's funny. That witch screen is so cool. The witch's hut there, made out of gingerbread. The Hansel and Gretel reference. Am I looking for art? I'm handling it mostly myself right now because I want to attempt it, but if someone comes along and shows me something that's closer to this than I can get, I'll gladly accept their help. But I'm not actively looking, no. So I've made a few screens, obviously not as nice as that. I tried to cut, these are really early ones, these two. And this. I like how this one turned out. I had some help sketching out the design of this, and then I traced over it when I drew the picture in SCI Companion. I also have one for the inside of the church, which I can show you. So here is what the inside is going to look like, roughly. You have to make it less... I'm not sure if the diagonal approach will work well, because it's not a pure point-and-click game where you got some pathfinding around obstacles. So if you click the mouse button, he'll just walk straight to where you clicked instead of trying to walk around things to get there. So I could probably keep this, though, relatively clear, and just to not make it frustrating to walk with the mouse or the keyboard. So it might still work. Yeah, this is what Little Blue Smurf, he called himself, who is a member of Infamous Adventures, drew up for me, as well as the outside of the church here. So here's the original sketches he made. The church was a lot bigger initially, but you can see there's 3 windows here, and in my game there's only 2. This is because the building was too big. And look, you could even see the bell tower up there, which looks really nice, but it was too zoomed out. Graham would be really small or Graham would be a giant compared to it. So we go. Here's where I put the sprite in just to get the sizes, and I had to zoom in on the image and cut out a whole window just so Graham's sprite would fit. And that's what we ended up with when I traced it over. Yeah, those EGA dithered color choices are just genius. Dave Orr is an amazing pixel artist. That's right. I saw some of the videos on your channel. You do pixel art, don't you? Some was really nice. Are you volunteering? I don't want to ask because people are obviously pretty busy, and I'm not even in the stage of art yet. So my stream schedule has been revolving around every week I do something different. First week is programming, the next week I do some art, the next week I do sound and music. So I've been doing a bit of art. I did this a couple weeks ago on screen from beginning to end. And you can see I kind of copied some King's Quest 1 colors here for the bushes. But, I mean, the actual shapes themselves aren't anything to write home about. I think I took this tree from another King's Quest game, honestly. because you can copy draw commands. They're all stored in this format, right?
Hello, I'm Mother Goose.
Look, stop Mother Goose playing. So I could take like all these branches, copy them, move them around, mirror them, flip them, copy them into another screen, and that's kind of what I did with this tree is from King's Quest IV. I think I just swapped the sides. Always got to have one layer as the character sprite when concepting, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, I could use a different sprite for Graham for the church, and it would make the church look a lot bigger, but I don't think it really called for that. I think I like to keep it the same size everywhere. If I was to do anything where Graham's sprite would change, it would probably be in front of Dracula's castle, to make Dracula's castle look huge. But the church isn't really a central point in the game, so it's nothing to really focus on to make it look really interesting, you know what I mean? Actually just shipped an EGA animation for lenticular print that I'm excited for. Nice. Maybe honestly doing at least some would be real fun. Well, I'd appreciate... Oh, I loved when they did that in Conquest of the Longbow. Yeah. Well, if you're up for... What would be easier to do? A background or maybe a sprite? If you want... I'm not going to say, could you do this for me? But if you want to volunteer something, I'm all eyes. This screen I'm not happy with. I don't like the tree. I'm going to change that. This bush here is taken from King's Quest I. Everything else I did. But you can see it doesn't look near as nice as King's Quest I's actual art. This looked a lot worse. It still looks pretty bad, but this tree was terrible when I first did it. I redid that a couple weeks ago too. Just this tree. The mountain face, it has problems here. Because I'm drawing in the vector. That's the other thing. It needs to be vector commands. I can convert it from a bitmap, but the result would end up being like this. Someone did this screen for me, and it kind of is stylistically jarring compared to the rest. I was going to do some editing to fix it, but... Oh no, he did draw this out. Okay, what am I thinking of then? There's some other ones. Okay, so these I converted from Space Quest 1 EGA, okay? Companion has a function where you can import an image and convert it to draw commands, but this is what it looks like when it's drawn. Line by line. And the result can be pretty large until it finally gets to the end. The problem with this is you'd have to make a completely new set of draw commands for the priority for walk behinds and trace over exactly every single object. You can't import priority. And it's easier if you have something like this. There's no priority on that screen, but okay, something like this where you can use the same draw commands but activate the priority color for them. So you're drawing the tree in visual the same time you're drawing in priority, and the walk behind is perfect. That's the struggle there, and that's why I traced over the sketch for the church here. So this is all regular draw commands, but I traced over a sketch. Backgrounds would be more fun, but I've done some good animation. Yeah, I don't know if I'd concept and vector. Yeah. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. I bet those conversion files get big. And the other thing is SCI picture resources can only be a maximum size, and sometimes when you convert, it's too big and it warns you, this is too big for SCI, it's not going to load. Do you want to continue? And you have to make some changes to how it imports so that it's not too big. But it's doable. I mean, if that was the only way to do it, at the very least I could copy the shapes and trace over an EGA image with draw commands and just replicate it as best I could, but obviously it's not going to work the same way. There might be some differences, but if you want to take a stab at a background, be my guest. I've got whichever way you want to do it. If you want to do it your own way with Photoshop or whatever you use, or Deluxe Paint, and if you don't want to use vector commands, that's okay. How about I don't know, what are you in the mood for? I want the thing about the swamp areas here and the castle. I want to make that look like something from like Colonel's Bequest, layers of spooky and dark, and like I'd like it to be like so that when you get to the swamp, it's not bright and sunny like it is in the original. Like here, you just come here and there's still green grass, there's some dead trees and the poison water, and then you see the island in the distance. I want it to be like, from a distance you can see a dark cloud over it, so when you finally get there it's going to be dark and spooky and gloomy and not sunny and bright. I want to change up the atmosphere huge there. And I'd like to have it start on each side of these swamp screens. So like all these right here. You'd start to feel the darkness creeping in somehow. I'm just kind of visualizing it in my head. I'm not sure how it would actually look. How about the antique shop here? This looks a little too modern. I know Grandma's cottage looks modern too. And I recreated it with like, you know, modern siding and paneling and everything. But maybe the antique shop could look a little more dated, more era appropriate. How'd you feel about taking on something like that, if you have time? Again, I'm not expecting anything. If you're busy, it's fine. But if you want to just throw something together for fun, I'll look at it and I'll use it. I like the idea of the small gram sprite. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm definitely like to do that for the Dracula's Castle and totally redesign that place on the outside. Can you actually load it into the editor to trace over? Yeah, you can. So so let me I'll just grab a AGI picture here. So anything, copy to clipboard, new picture right here, and then you can either go here to load a trace image or just paste it in, and then you can control the opacity. The draw commands will be on top of the image, or no, the tracing image will be on top of the draw commands. So let's say so there's the line, and the trace image would be drawn on top, but you have control over the opacity, like that. This is what I did with this screen when I did this one. I used the original as a trace over, so pick one, copy. There's the image, so I kind of traced right over it. I did some changes, like made the palm tree a little taller because Graham is bigger. So it ends up making the beach look a little smaller because Graham is bigger, but I at least made the palm tree look taller. I think the sky colors would slowly change approaching the castle. Yeah. And, you know, you have your different dithering blends of every color here, which can do that. But that's exactly what I was thinking. Slowly get dark until it's like dark gray. Like it's just some looming black cloud over it. Like, so let's just open Colonel's Bequest for a minute. Like obviously Colonel's Bequest takes place at nighttime in a swamp, a bayou or whatever. LB1, there we go. But I'd like to definitely evoke something like this somehow. This is like, I think Colonel's Bequest probably has the best EGA art of the era. Like, see how it's, yeah, definitely. The water would look a little more poisonish, not just dark blue, but you could use a different color for that. But see these clouds here and the dark trees. I definitely like this kind of vibe on the island and a little bit in the distance away from the island. If you want, maybe you would do one like that. That'd be fine. That'd be cool. One of those screens from the swamp. So any of these that has the swamp water on the screen, if you want. Doesn't matter to me. You know what? Pick one. Look through the screens of King's Quest 2 and just pick one. There's a few that I've made already, but mostly mostly the first few. So I got the first 9 screens are mostly done. I don't like the bush on this screen. I think it looks really stupid. This is another really old one. Anyway, you get the idea. So deliciously gloomy, yes. Probably paste a few gram sprites here and there for perspective. That's another nice thing that SCI Companion will do. You can toggle ego. If you get the right one. Enter resource number 1. Okay, there. And then you can move him around the screen. And you can use the arrow keys to change his direction he's facing. If I do number 2, that's his walking animation. No, it's not. 0. Okay, and then you can actually animate him. So if you wanted to use this, it supports it really nicely, and it also gets the walk behind. So if there are priority colors, you can test them right here. And you can put the priority lines right on the screen, so each line tells you where walk behind start and end. So anything that you see on the priority side here, anything above this level of green here will be drawn behind anything green, because this is where green starts. So that's how that works. So that if he's past the green line, he's drawn in front of it, and if he's behind it, he's drawn behind it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, AGS was modeled very closely after SCI, actually. Actually, AGS, when it first started, was a DOS interpreter. You can also do, and this is a feature I asked for, if you observe control lines, you can test where the ego is blocked. So there's a priority screen for walk behinds and a control screen. Anything white is blocked and an object can't go past it. So you can test that too. So he won't go past certain areas. And that's how you stop him from going past, like the tree here. So it's pretty feature rich. And you can set a specific priority, so it's always priority 7, for instance. For instance, if you wanted a sprite to be a foreground object animation, but it's higher on the screen, but it needs to have a priority of, say, 15, so it makes sure it's drawn in front of everything, so that if it's up here, it will be drawn in front of, yeah. So it's good for game design from the scripting side to test things, to make sure they work properly too. Observe polygons. That's something for VGA games that doesn't work for EGA. Default priority. So it's pretty comprehensive picture editor, and I really like it. But it's vector-based, and you don't have all the same tools that you would, obviously, in Photoshop or something. I should implement some of these features in my own tools. Yeah, it's short of launching the game and testing the room in game. This is a pretty comprehensive way of testing everything. Observe control line. So it only will observe white lines. For instance, because you can see I got colors here to change when ego is wading or swimming, but it won't block him on those, just the white ones. You could hypothetically do a tall grass sprite that way. Yeah. Yeah, that's animating in the foreground. Or like branches in the foreground that are kind of waving in the leaves, like in the wind, that is. Leaves waving in the wind. It's basically what I did for certain screens, like, where is it? Where is it? Okay, so these, yeah. I mean, this isn't an animation, it's not a view, but see, anything white on the priority screen will be drawn on top of everything, because it's the bottommost color. You've got your 15 colors here. Black, anything black here is drawn behind everything. Then you got blue, green, teal, red, purple, brown, light gray, dark gray, light blue, light blah blah blah, yellow, and then white is over everything. Yellow would be the next highest thing. So if we put Graham in here, where is he? Where is he? He's gone. I don't know why it's not working. But, yeah man, if you wanted to do something, I would happily credit you. Something that fits the style I'm going for, like that King's Quest 1 storybook looking, those same use of colors and design. It's not exactly the same, I kind of went my own way, but I am open to fixing things. Like, I used a ton of black squiggly lines. Like, if I turn off the dithering here, it's another feature this has. I don't know why anyone would use this. I like the dithering. But ScumVM has the ability to play without dithering. So this is what that would look like. As you can see, all these ugly black lines here are kind of jarring, but when you put dithering on, it looks like bark detail. But I probably went overboard on that. King's Quest 1 doesn't have that much detail on its trees, for instance. But we go here, like, it's mostly pretty smooth. So, and I am aiming towards this. Yeah. Yeah, shaking my head too. Is it because a lot of the control screen is white? Well, it's just because white is the only one that officially blocks. I can program it. Like, I can program these colors to do anything I want, and have anything on the screen react to these colors in different ways. I can even, and I will, be using certain colors on a screen for mouse interaction. So if I right-click on a certain color, it'll be like looking at that object, which King's Quest 1 does already by itself. You can see on so here. Oh, maybe not here. Here? If you right-click on objects, so this is all white because there's no way Ego's ever gonna walk up there. Quest for Glory 2 does it as well, but if you right-click on a certain control color, it'll look at that object. It'll print a message on the screen. So I guess it doesn't work that way on this, but either way. I wonder how that's programmed actually. Rock of new feature. New feature is the right-click look. So it kind of does bounding boxes, I guess. Coordinates. Okay. Anyway, I think you can program it that way for control colors as well. Why Ego wouldn't show up on the church screen? Oh. Yeah, you're probably right. But it would draw his outline. That's really weird. Where is he? Oh, wait. There he is. Default priority. Okay. There we go.
See, it'll show his outline. It's weird, it didn't there for a second. If he's behind something, it should show his outline. Yeah. Didn't expect BBs. I thought it'd be a control layer. Yeah, I know. I was sure it was. But most of the objects are just views, and you could program if you right-click on a view or not. But for things that are part of the image... Okay, so this screen. Tree 5, tree 4, tree 3, tree 2. Tree. So bounding box... Look, noun. It's using nouns. -140, 319. 40, 319. Wait, was that? Bottom is 40. 319. All the way over. So that's the horizon. Oh no, that's the trees, the branches. The branches of this big tree. That's what it's supposed to be. I bet you any money. Tree 1. It's the same noun. All of these are the same noun. 2503. Okay, this one's different. It's a rock. That's a lot of bounding boxes. That's a lot of work. You must be able to do it with control colors. That's something I'm gonna have to test someday. Okay, well, it's 11:30. I've been going quite a long time. Probably not gonna get any more done. Next time I program, though, I'm definitely gonna handle Hagatha's region script here and her appearances, her random appearances. I got her sprite in the game. I just need to have her appear and do things, do something, which is easy enough now that I know which room she's supposed to be in. Cool. All right. Lurk today. Fun to watch the development. Thank you, Critical Buzz. Good to see you. Bounding boxes are also so ugly to test if they're hard-coded. Well, they're in the... If they're hard-coded, yeah. These are not really hard-coded. It's all in the script, so... Oh, but I know what you mean. Yeah, if it's all markup and there's no visual representation. I wonder if Sierra had a tool that somehow visually manifested those bounding boxes. Because we're just hacking the actual scripts and controlling everything, but I wonder if Sierra's script editor automated some of all of this, you know what I mean? Like, if there's an object on the screen, it would just implement all the properties here, but it would represent in a window or something in their IDE. These are decompiled. Well, this is King's Quest 2. It's written from scratch by me, but King's Quest 1 is decompiled. But it's... The syntax is exactly what they used to use. The only thing that's missing, really, is like a lot of the variable names and procedure names. Some of those get lost, and you actually have to decompile the game multiple times because the global names of the globals change because they're referenced in different scripts, and it kind of figures itself out. Oh, okay, this is what this is supposed to be called, and then it re-decompiles. It does that a few times, and but mostly you end up with a bunch of, like, King's Quest 1 script room 1. So we got a bunch of local variables that are unnamed. We don't know what they do. Procedure. This is a procedure from script 958. It's the first procedure in that script. So if we go down to script 958. Whoops, not that one. So it's only got one procedure. It's not. It just names it number 0, 0, and up as computers number things. Not from 1, but from 0. And this is what it does. It's a public procedure called procedure 958.0. It takes 2 parameters we don't know the names of, and there's 2 temporary variables we don't know the names of, and so that's kind of what most of it is like. It's obfuscated. And but some of them come through, like There's global variables, they're just called global. Menu bar. So instances usually in a screen all have names. So vine to, earn to, these are the look objects. Anything on the screen will have a name, so that those usually come out fine. Sometimes the script names can be a little wonky. Like script instances within scripts. So like enter castle of script is has a change state method, and it does things in sequence. So if this enter castle script is triggered, it'll go through the cases. It'll do all this first, and then it'll queue itself right here after set motion happens to gate. When the gate comes all the way down and closes, once it gets here, it queues self and goes to the next state, and then it does all this. And then this is all disassembly here. Sometimes it can't decompile, so it falls back to assembly. It's not a perfect decompilation. You can still compile with this, but I don't know, I can't read assembly, so I can't read disassembly, so I don't know what any of this is doing, but you can see it's referencing the Y flag. There's a sed statement here. This is a handle event that's been claimed. So that's probably the handle event method, maybe. Has checks to see if ego has an inventory object. So that's the has flag. You kind of get an idea what's happening, but it couldn't decompile for whatever reason. I didn't think about globals, yeah. So the main script is main 0, and if any local variables in the main script are global variables everywhere else, so all of these are global variables that control something. In the SCI template game that was made, these were all given names because we figured out what they do, at least for the game it was based on. And in this, the template game was based on Leisure Suit Larry 3. So the globals could be different in other games, but Leisure Suit Larry 3 uses these globals for these things. So it was all reverse engineered. They figured out what it did, and they gave them appropriate names. So we got overlay, whether to overlay the picture when drawing. The game volume is here. The current room number is here somewhere. Quit game. If this is ever true, the game drops to DOS. The game speed. The current room instance is groom. There's also a groom number. Groom number exit. And and I added a ton of global variables to control stuff that happens globally in the game. So whether you've gotten rid of the ghosts, if you're wearing the cross, if you've given grandma the soup, and it takes up a lot of memory actually. In later SCI games, in SCI VGA, SCI 1, they change it from global variables to bit flags, which saves on tons of memory. You can't label everything. You lose that customizability, but it saves on memory. It does have dedicated memory locations, but you can run out. If you have too many global variables, you're going to hit the heap memory limit and the game will crash or something. Bit flags is way better, yeah. You can still comment the bits, I suppose. For instance, we open King's Quest 6. So here's the main script of King's Quest 6. Well, what happened? Okay, here we go. These are all the global variables. So there are some global variables, but just for the interface and the engine and the interpreter. And you can't change any of these, and it knows that there's a certain amount of global variables, and if you add another one, the game will freak out. So you can't use global variables to track game stuff. Kill dog. What is that for? So these are to handle global objects, basically. Well, some of these look like game instances. I can't remember how and where it sets the bit flags, though. Anyway, somehow it does it. I have to look into it again. Okay, no, for instance, what's a screen that would be conditional on something? The first screen of the Isle of Wonder. Where is it? This one. So in this script, if you try to go into the island, you'll be greeted with the 5 sensing gnomes, and you have to trick each of them to get further in the island. So to do that, it has to check to see if there's certain conditions met or not. If you've already passed them, they won't appear ever again. So Riddle Alex, main gnome script. Okay, where is that called? I was attempting to do a patch to patch out the copy protection at the Cliffs of Logic. That's probably where more will be. The Cliffs of Logic. Where's the base of the Cliffs of Logic? There's one. There it is. Okay. See, some of the names it gets wrong. This room script name is walk feature, which is not what this should be called, but that name was somewhere in the game, so that's what it called this object, and consequently the script. It's initting a lot of stuff here, initializing a lot of stuff. Just have to smash F12 an extra time. Whatever it is in SCI. Go to definition. Sounds like that's what AGS should do. Just have a big old binary flag mess. Don't have messed up saves when making new flags. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. Having global variables would mess up, if they ever changed, would mess up saves real bad. Although it loads all the scripts into memory into the save file, so... For instance, if you recompiled a script and made changes, and you already had a save game in that room, in that script, room script, when you load the game, it'll still have the old script in memory. And I'm not sure if you could walk out of the room and go back if it would reset. I usually just start over and go to the room all over again. Like, it's like a virtual machine save state, those SCI save games, somehow. So if global array script get value is not equal to 380, play sound. So in the initialization, so the okay, add obstacle, polygon. Oh, these are the polygons. That's what this is. Polygons are the walkable areas of an SCI 1 game room, and they're all coordinates. They're not visually saved in the picture editor. They're script coordinates. SCI Companion's picture editor will draw polygons, but it'll save it as a script file and be compiled in the script later. And if you've drawn it with SCI Companion, it'll store the polygons here. I'm still trying to find where it sets that stuff. So this must be the global variable for the bit flags. Because this is where everything is initialized. Anyway. Yeah, it's pretty weird. So like it wouldn't tell you this was saved under a different, or would it? Would it say this is saved under a different interpreter if you try to load a save game? I think it would just crash and say, "Oops, you tried something we didn't think of," and because it just couldn't handle it. Anyway, I'm gonna call it. Yeah, if you wanna, Deavor, if you wanted to grab a background, whichever one you want, just pick one. If I've already done it, who cares? If it's better than mine, I'll use it. And just see what you want. If you want to do something with it, I'm fine with it. For fun, see what it looks like, and we'll see if it we can put it in and have it fit. Anyway, I'm gonna go. But everybody have a good day. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you next time. Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Central, for what I do, scripting today. So I guess some art next week. Thanks for joining again. You're welcome for the stream. Hey, we'll talk to you later.